Alright, so this past weekend I played regionals at Rosemont, and I did not do very well. But I wanted to do a deck profile of my current build of Pendulum Magicians, so I'm going to do that along with a short tournament report afterwards. I went 1-3, lost to 2 Spyral and a Trickstar, and I beat a Spyral. I'm kind of annoyed that the only regional I could go to this entire fall season was smack dab in the middle of Spyral format, right before the emergency list. But there aren't any other ones announced in Illinois all the way through January, which is crazy. And the only other one before this I was not able to go to. I was busy. So yeah, basically just did not have a chance to play during this entire previous Pendulum Magician format before Spirals came out. So that's pretty annoying. Anyways, I think my build was pretty good. I can't actually think of anything I would change. I'm playing 41 cards. I would cut it down to 40 if I could think of what to cut, but I can't decide what to cut because everything is pretty good. So just jumping right into it now, we've got 3 Harmonizing, 3 Wisdom Eye, 3 Double Iris, 3 Purple Poison, 2 Black Fang. So I kind of wanted to play 3 Black Fang. Black Fang is good, but it's not as good as the other ones, and you have to cut something to make space. So that's how I feel about that. 2 Oath. So I am playing Desires, and I really do not want to banish this because it's really important to get your Harmonizings back, to pendulum them from your hand. And drawing multiples of this is fine, because you're going to Exceed Summon, and then you can get stuff back from the grave when you Pendulum Summon this. Is really not an argument for only playing 1 if you're playing Desires, in my opinion. That's it for the Magicians. The White Wing thing is bad. You're not going to make 2 Omegas during this format, because you need to make a Baguska to stop Spirals. 3 Jokers, 2 Sorcerers, same reasoning as Oath. This is really important to get off. 2 Astrographs. You could maybe cut this card because it's not super important, but it's really nice to just replace stuff. That's it for the pendulums. Besides those are all the non-magician pendulums. And then we got the hand traps. We've got 1 Max C, 3 Droll Unlocks, and 3 Ghost Ogres. I don't own Ash. Also, I don't even think Ash is that great against Spyral. Like, it stops 1 search. That really does not have too much effect on them because they end up searching so much anyways. The only time it really hurts them is if they have a suboptimal hand where they need that 1 search to get any plays going, but usually they'll have a second way, and yeah, that's how I feel about it. Ghost Ogre is pretty good for hitting the Helix, and it's just generally more useful than a lot of the more specific hand traps. It's the weakest out of the ones I'm main decking for sure. This is obvious, and this is obvious. Those are all really good. And then next up, we've got 3 Duelist Alliance, because you really need to search your stuff. Some people play less. That's just kind of bad, in my opinion. 2 Pot Desires. I don't even have a 3rd one. I might consider a 3rd one, but 2 is fine. A lot of people only play 2, even if they have 3. 2 Star Pendulum Graph. This card is kind of overrated, but it's still good. And you don't want to banish it, once again, off Desires. So, 2 MST. So, I actually thought about this. I think this is the best spell trap removal in this deck, because Cosmic Cyclone, you can't destroy your own Double Iris to get search for the trap, and the trap is really important to have turn 1. So sometimes when you have bad hands, this is the only way to do it. But the main reason I'm playing this is to destroy my opponent's floodgates and set cards, because a lot of times when your opponent goes first, they'll end with just 1 set, and then you just space it, and you can play as long as they don't have hand traps. But usually the set traps are more impactful, because they'll set things like Twin Twisters and Solemn Strike and Solemn Warning, and Floodgates also. And so the main thing you want to hit with this is Floodgates, and in that case, this is just as good as Cosmic Cyclone. You don't need to be banishing their Floodgates, and a lot of the reason people play Cosmic Cyclone is the mirror, because they don't want to be destroying their opponent's scales to give them effects. They want to get rid of them by banishing them. But the problem with that is in the mirror, you want to be hitting Time Pendulum Graph usually with this card. So in that case, it doesn't even matter. So I think in most cases, this is the same, but in some cases, it's better. And I think those cases are more likely to come up than the cases where it's worse. So that's why I'm playing MST. Also, I apologize that these are commons. I'm currently trying to find my hellos. I'm not sure where they are. And then I have 2 Time Pendulum Graph, which you would play too, even if you didn't play Desires, just because sometimes you want to replace it after your opponent destroys it. So that's my main deck. All those cards are pretty good. Extra deck, for the links, we've got 1 Decode Talker and 1 Akashic Magician. So the main reason I'm playing these is because you sometimes want to be able to pendulum a monster from your extra deck, but you already have an extra deck monster in the zone, and you just need to get rid of it. And you can use this with Time Star Magician to do that. And if you don't have Time Star in there, then you have to do this, and it's not as good. But their effects aren't really important, but they're fine. This one did actually come up during the tournament effect, so that was pretty funny. And then for the synchros, we have Ignister, Supreme King, Dragon Clearwing, and Omega. So these are all obvious. Everyone should play these. I don't own a Beals. If I did, I would play it. And I don't think any of the other synchros are necessary. And they're not as good as the ones I was playing. As good as the other cards I'm playing, I mean. Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom is the only fusion. This didn't come up during the tournament, but it comes up a lot. I did actually make all 3 of these during the tournament. And I made Akashic, but I did not make Decode. And then for my X-Seeds, I've got Baguska, the best one to make going first against Spyral. Against other matches, it's not as needed, but sometimes it does come up. Like if your opponent has, I was playing against Invoked and they had the light guy out, so I summoned this, so then he couldn't negate my trap, so I could activate my trap fine. And then Time Star, just generally good if you're playing against the mirror. Yeah, this is really good. And then Tornado Dragon, obvious, get rid of floodgates and stuff. I did summon all 3 of these at the tournament. The rest of the X-Seeds I did not summon, but they're worth playing. Lightning and Utopia, obvious. And then Trapeze, in theory, good against Trickstar. The only time I made it against Trickstar in testing, they just outed it with a trap, and then it didn't do anything. And I never got the chance to in the tournament match against them. 1 Dweller, which I don't even know why I would make this anymore. I feel like it never comes up. I don't think I've made Dweller ever since I started testing this deck. So I would cut that for Beals if I had a Beals. And then 1 Spyral Double Helix for my Sighted Cherries, and then 1 ABC Dragon Buster for my Sighted Cherries. This is also pretty cuttable because I feel like ABC never really comes up. Side deck, I've got 1 Raw Sphere Mode and 1 Lava Golem. I only own 1 of these, otherwise I would side 2. This did come up. I played this against Spyral, it's pretty good. 3 Zaphion the Time Lord. I'm not siding Denko anymore. I decided that I needed to choose between them because there's not that much space in the side deck. It was pretty tight. And I decided that this was just generally a lot better because you could side this. This is really good in the mirror because they can't destroy it with their time thing. And you spin that and their scales back. And this is also good against True Dracos. So in addition to being good against Paleo, it's really good in 2 other matchups that are more common than Paleo. And so Daco is better against Paleo, but this has more coverage. And I mostly play against Spyral, so Zaphion didn't really come up. 3 Winter Cherries. I never drew it, but yeah, you just use it for Double Helix. Even next format, it's hard to say, but I think Spyral will still be. They still might be the best deck, even with their hits, just because they're such a good deck. So you still might want to side Winter Cherries. We'll see. I main decked these, by the way, because the extra deck has more room than the side deck, by far. 3 Wavering Eyes, because the mirror comes up. I saw a lot of people playing it. I just never matched up against anybody playing it. And you need this if your opponent is playing it and you're playing against a different Pendulum deck, basically. But it's not very good if you're not playing against a Pendulum deck. So that's why you don't main it. And we've got 1 Warning and 3 Solemn Strikes for going first against most decks, honestly. Including Spyral. I side this in going first against Spyral. It's pretty good. I liked it. I would recommend it. And that's it for my deck build. So now I will be going into tournament report. So game 1, I get matched up against Spyral, and I won the roll, so I get to go first. I opened kind of suboptimal. I have hand traps, so that's good. But I don't really have any way to make any plays, so the only thing I can do is I activate a double iris, and then I use MST on it to search the trap. And I activate a different Magician from my hand as a scale, set the trap, and pass with that. And my opponent ended up having 2 different copies of Droll and Lockbird, so he activated that on my first and my second turn, which, lucky for me, didn't actually matter at all, because I was only going to search 1 time per hand anyways. So it didn't affect me at all. So he was basically -2. Droll isn't really that good against this deck. I would side it out in the mirror. Because sometimes it does impact them a lot, but usually it doesn't. Usually they only need a few searches. Like, I can't think of a hand that would need more than 3 searches. And lucky for me, I have a Droll of my own in my hand, which is really good against Spyral. And I also have a Ghost Ogre, which I use on, I think it's Field Spell. I use these on his first 2 turns, which gives me time to build up my advantage. That, along with my trap, I do eventually draw into a Wisdom Eye on my, I think it was my second turn. I think I drew it on my second turn. And so I'm able to start making plays, and I win that game really easily. So game 3, he opens really badly. He goes first. He just sets Twin Twisters and passes. And so I have my MST in my hand, so I use that on his MST. Go for my plays. I summon a Harmonizing Magician and use its effect, and he uses a Gamma on it. And he unfortunately actually just drew his driver in his opening hand, so that was really bad for him. But even with him negating my Harmonizing, I had 2 other Magicians on board, or 2 other Pendulums. I think it was a Joker and a Pendulum. And so I overlay those 2 to make Baguska, just to stop him if he ends up drawing into anything. And he does. He ends up drawing a Gofu for turn. So he uses Gofu to make an Ningrisu, which I just destroy with my Time Pendulum Graph. I ended up winning that game pretty easily, because he did not have a very good hand. So that was a pretty easy win, 2-0 against Spyral. So I was pretty happy at that point in the tournament. So in round 2, I get paired up against Spyral again, and I unfortunately lose the roll. But lucky for me, I opened up with a really strong hand, like almost as good a hand as possible you can have. I had a Droll and Lockbird, which is able to stop him on his turn, which is great because he opened with Quick Fix plus Machine Duplication. So this is able to stop him from just killing me, basically, on that turn. And then on my turn, I end up making Omega, banish a card from his hand. I hit, I don't remember the name. It's the one they equip to Sleeper to protect it. And then I make a Baguska, and I set a Time Star with a purple poison also on the field. So I'm able to destroy 2 cards on his turn, and he can't use monster effects besides Lynx. So I'm in a really good position, and he still manages to make, like, he had the Machine Dupe plus Quick Fix, so he's able to get access to tons of searches, potentially, as soon as he outs Baguska. And even ignoring that, he has access to be able to summon a ton of monsters, using his Quick Fix effects to summon from grave. And so what he does is he forces out my Time Star, or Time Pendulum Graph. I forgot what I used it on, but I activated that, and then after that was gone, he summoned an Ingrisu, which he used to take my Baguska off the field, and then he ended up actually just OTKing me through my really good board, because he had his Ningrisu and a Sleeper, and then he used Sleeper's effect to destroy his board and summon a Super Agent, and then he banished his trap from his grave during the battle phase to special summon a monster to attack for game. So he just OTK'd me, which was crazy. Spirals are just way too good. And then game 2, I get to go first, but I have a really bad hand. I actually would have an okay hand if my Joker search would have gotten off, but he had an Ash for my Joker. He also had a Droll and Lockbird, so he said afterwards he was considering which one to use. Ash was way better. In this situation, he stopped my search, and I was stuck with a bunch of high scales in my hand and no way to get to a low scale, so I just couldn't do anything, so I just passed with just a Joker on board. And he ends up OTKing me on his second turn again. So this time I don't have any hand traps, and he has a quick fix again. So he gets his quick fix search for a drone, and he then uses a Twin Twisters to discard the drone to grave to destroy his own set Regeki. I didn't have any back rows at all, so he couldn't use Twin Twisters on me. And he did that to get his drone in the grave, so he could use Big Red to special summon the drone. And then with the drone and 2 Spirals on board, he was able to just make a bunch of plays and OTK me, and I had no way to stop any of it. So I just got blown back by Spyral, just being way too good, basically. Then round 3, I lose the roll again. I play against Spyral. Luckily, even though I lost the roll, he opened with the worst hand ever. He had 2 Ghost Ogres, 2 Droll and Lockbirds, and an Ash. That was literally his hand. And so even with all of those hand traps, I'm able to still make a Baguska, and then I end up winning really easily just by attacking on my second turn. I attacked for 33 damage before making the Baguska with the monsters I used as materials. I think it was a Joker and a Wisdom Eye. So then game 2, he goes first. This time he opens the Agent plus Drone combo, and he makes a really big board, and I don't have any hand traps to stop him. Luckily for me, though, I do have a Sphere Mode in my hand, so I'm able to use this tribute Sleeper, Firewall, and I think I tributed... I don't even remember the third one. I tributed Sleeper, Firewall, and something else. And I then end up also making an Akashic to bounce it back to my hand, so I can use it again on his next turn, or on my next turn, I should say. And I also make Tornado Dragon, so I could stop a Resort if he has it. And I guess maybe I should have made a Baguska, but he had a back row, so I wanted to destroy the back row, and then have this to destroy a Resort, which it did actually do. But regardless, if I had made Baguska, I don't think it would have made a difference, because he actually has a Soul Charge, so he special summons 4 monsters, like 4 Link monsters, so Baguska wouldn't have done anything to any of those. And so with those, he ends up clearing my board. He can't attack to kill me, but I have like no resources left because I use my resources to make that field. And so I do have the Sphere Mode. I use this again, but it doesn't really matter because I don't have anything left. And this can only tribute 3 of his cards, and he has 5 cards or 5 monsters at that point. So yeah, so I don't have anything left, and he just beats me on his next turn. So game 3, I go first. I end up actually just opening a ton of traps. I had Strike, Time Pendulum Graph, and an MST, and also I think I may have had a hand trap. I'm not sure. I might have had a hand trap too, but I remember setting all 3 of these in my 3 zones, because you only get 3 zones now as a pendulum player. So I set all of those, and I ended up needing all of them to stop my opponent's plays. And he actually opened with Quick Fix plus Machine Dupe. Luckily with these, I was able to stop his plays and get him down to only 1 card left. He had just a Super Agent. Unfortunately for me, his Super Agent had 1900 attack, and my only monster on board was my Joker, which had 1800 attack. And after he destroyed this, and I didn't have any scales, I couldn't Pendulum Summon, and I didn't have any monsters, and he ended up just attacking me, and attacking me, and attacking me, and I lost, because I couldn't get to any monsters. So it's a pretty lame way to lose, but yeah, I just couldn't deal with that 900 attack. So then, round 4, I lose the roll again. Bad luck there. And I end up playing against Trickstar. Even worse luck. I hate Trickstar. It's like the least fun deck to play against ever. I've thought about this. I actually cannot think of a deck that is less fun out of all the decks I've ever played against. Like, it drains the energy out of you playing against Trickstar. Like, the guy seemed like an okay guy, but I had no desire to play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore after this match. It was painful. Like, I can't emphasize how much it's just not fun. So game 1, he won the roll. He went first. He sent 2 reincarnations, and he had a draw. So during my standby phase, he just activated reincarnation, activated draw, activated reincarnation. Wow, wasn't that fun? I love playing Yu-Gi-Oh! This is the best game. It's so cool. Why is this card not hit on the emergency list? I don't know. Konami's stupid. Okay, so that was fun. Game 2, I get to go first, and lucky for me, I brick with the deck that never bricks. So that was fun. This deck actually almost never bricks. It's super consistent. I brick probably like 1 out of every 20 games, something like that, maybe. But yeah, that was fun. I couldn't really do anything, and I did set up a time pendulum graph. I was able to search that out, but he outed it. I don't even remember what he did. I'm trying to block this match out of memory. He did something to get rid of it, and I didn't have any resources. He just burned me and attacked me and attacked me and then burned me and then burned me and then attacked me. Yeah, I did 0 damage this entire match. Isn't that cool? I really like Trickstar. It's great design choices there, Konami. I'm not salty at all. Anyways, I had fun because I was able to hang out with my friends, so it was good tournament overall. I really hate Trickstar. Spyral is too good, but it's not unfun to play against. So after they hit it, I think it'll be fine. I don't think it'll annoy me that much afterwards because there's nothing inherently wrong with the deck. It was just too good, where you can have like a 2-card combo make you go plus 10. It doesn't seem really that fair. Especially when that plus 10, half of those are like cards like Firewall that hasn't used its bounce effect yet, plus Sleeper that's protected, and you can't target anything. Yeah, it was probably too good. I can see why they hit it. So hopefully you guys all enjoyed this deck profile. And hopefully it wasn't too long and rambling. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to check out some other stuff.